Hello, dog. Lildawg right here, right now. Welcome back to Magical Eyes, Reddit's for Anguish. We've had some interesting revelations. One is that the doll has a trigger. It's kind of like a gun. The dark sky is starting to lighten to a pink glow. The sun rises much earlier at this time of year. Listening to the engine sound of a newspaper man's motorcycle, I jog in silence. I do this workout session once every other day. Regular exercise strengthens you not only just physically, but mentally. I put particular importance on the latter. High physical toughness is helpful, but mental condition is even more important for those like myself who deal with variance. Your mind toughens the most when you overcome temptation to sleep in or procrastinate. Even if you're not strong in a physical sense, as long as you have the mental fortitude to resist temptation, you're even able to take down monsters that can run faster than cars. That's common sense in the universe I live in. Your mental strength equals your physical strength. If you hesitate, you can't use everything you've got. I'm worn out both mentally and physically, but I believe that is the best time for training. My legs beg me to let them stop running, but I refuse and push on, struggling to keep my mind away from any negative feelings. Your mental strength matches your strength as a disobeyer. I just keep running through the sunrise-painted town, hoping all my unnecessary feelings flow out of me along with my sweat. So what's going on in Noodle Graveyard? You! As I arrive at the Ramen Shop in response to Pop's summons, I see someone who you'd hardly expect to be around. We've got a special lecturer today. Hello there, my deep pockets. Nanashi. Oh man, he's my favorite. Nanashi, you're thinking out loud. Can't believe middle schooler left his shop. Me neither. This happens maybe once every few months. It's nothing special. I do go out for food purchases or negotiation and all that. I'll pass on commenting on you not mentioning school. So, you gonna tell us what this doll really is, middle schooler? Yes, as your special lecturer. Only Nanashi is capable of doing it. Of course, you're not doing this free of charge, are you? Don't worry about it. Pops has already paid me. Must have been big money. No worries, it wasn't out of my pocket. To be honest, I already had an idea in my mind when you came to me the other day. But I decided to avoid sharing it until I found evidence, because it's something so off the wall. Well, it turned out to be true, though. Enough lead-in, let's just get the lecture started. You're right, as an old saying goes, youthful years pass quickly, and the youth love money. That's news to me. Plus, the adults are more into money than the youth, I'd say. I love Marin 100 times more than money. I believe all of you know the two individuals who influenced the doll. I know you and I learned about them just earlier. I look into Rin and Pops, who both nod, confirming that they know the same as Roku and me. We're going to focus on the people around her who went missing, which I believe all of you are concerned about. Sounds like a plan. According to Tamura, the doll does spirit people away, but we still have no idea how it does it and where it takes them. Is that what you're here for? Yes. You've got to be kidding me. Why didn't you tell me that earlier? Relax, I'm about to tell you. Man, this happens to me too often. My sympathies. Let me start with a question. Do any of you know how they restore works of art? That's a very general question. Pictorial art, for instance. I start off with research of techniques, materials, or painting papers used in the work. Exactly! Way to go, accessory designer. You can praise me more, don't hold back. After your research, you find out none of the pigment and papers are modern materials. What would you do? Well, I guess you would, take what you need from old existing works? Same goes for woodworking. Sometimes they take a work apart to gain old wood. That'd be the only possible way when you need something hard to find these days, or when you need the same material that was used back then. What led me to my speculation is a book. The book was written over 50 years ago regarding Miyami and his works. It has this chapter mentioning that somebody robbed his grave. By the way, burial was the mainstream at the time in that area. This is getting creepy now. You're trying to say all those people the doll took they were used as materials, probably to restore Miyami, pretending to be a craftsman and repairing the one who created it. So that's how the doll was influenced by its first and second owners. And I saw it with my own eyes last night. That's the proof, huh? That indeed is perfect proof. That was hell. There was a pile of missing people's bones. The center of the atelier was the worst part. No room to stand. We're taking care of it at the moment. There you go. You never try to be indirect when you say things like that. No matter how much I sugarcoat the facts, they won't change, will they? What about those who were taken recently? That's the point I'm concerned about the most. I'm afraid they're already dead. That's so... And there was vital reactions on the recent bodies. A vital reaction is a change in the body system, which can only be observed when a human is still alive. Studying vital reactions tells when the body was injured, so they can be important factors to judge whenever someone committed suicide or was killed, or how the accident happened. You mean it was while they were still alive? I wouldn't blame us for this. The disobeyers and police officers have rushed around for days and finally cornered a doll that's been working behind the scenes for decades. Still, we couldn't save as many lives if we had gotten this far a few days earlier. Give me a moment, I dropped the pen. High schooler, I won't say you shouldn't let it bother you, but you've got to swallow it down for now. I know. Why would the doll see humans as materials? If it does imitate its creators, it should choose wood or metal to create or repair its own creations. Maybe this Simamaru guy was so obsessed with human beings he had to use them as materials. Obsession with creating a human being, huh? Is it the doll's hair? You seem to remember that. Her hair is human hair. And so it thinks of us as materials? She might have decided that she simply needs the same materials Miyami used for his works. Whether that's true or not, it seems irrefutable that the doll uses human bodies. Now we've got the why done it. What still puzzles me is how the doll takes people away. I have an idea about that. Oh? Are you sure? Heh, Nanashi. Just like you have your specialties in objects, Junior has his own too. Not sure if I'm happy to specialize in this kind of bloody stuff. As expected of the Yamakawas. What are you, nuts, businessman? It's High Schooler himself that's amazing. Oh, my apologies. But that specialty of mine helps me out at times, and the time is almost here. Even after you and Suzunori left the ramen shop, Nanashi and Kashiwaba stayed seated because they have something to say to each other. Sorry if I sound suspicious of you, but you're going to stay on our side till the end, right? So long as I can have the doll like you've promised me. The shop manager is worried about the boy's unshakable obsession. He puts every human-made object above any human being's life. But that is the reason why he possesses his power and is capable of running his shop. That's what my department's worried about. If you get to the doll ahead of us and activate its powers, I'll become an enemy to you all, plainly speaking, yes. Having decided that this situation is even more crucial than dealing with the doll, the brass has ordered Kashiwaba to grasp what Nanashi really desires. I don't think that, but I think you'll be on the doll's side. If you want to talk about the side I'm on, I've been on her side ever since halfway through. Nanashi answers with the smile he shows when he welcomes someone in the shop. Of course, I don't believe that you disobeyers will just leave her alone after all she's done. So you at least want to have her after she goes back to being a simple object? That's right. The doll in question has taken its toll in countless ways. Without Nanashi's request, they would have decided to destroy it or seal it somewhere. Now that me and Junior and Commander are the one to subdue the doll, say okay, your wish should come true. Just so you know, I asked my department for permission and it has been granted. Thank you so much. That's what I've been dying to hear. But are you sure you're fine with all this? A material variant capable of moving on its own is extremely hard to find. Even during the 30 years of his career, the shop manager has only seen a few of those. To be more specific, he's never seen anything that moves around as freely as the doll. To the boy in front of him, the doll has to be a treasure. Despite that fact, the boy is going to let this opportunity go to waste, which is what the shop manager will never understand. I hate to put it this way, but what's most important to you is the emotion stored in the object. It is. And as for the doll, it would be what's within her that drives her to move, right? I suppose so. I'd love to see her while she can still move on her own if possible. Then why would he provide them with information that can corner the doll? But then again, you seem to have given it up already. I'm angry about this case. Angry? Most likely, my reasons are completely different from yours. His face contorts in grief as he says that. Family restaurant. That's so amazing! It's because you found that picture of him. Maeda gasps in surprise when Suzunari explains to him that they've succeeded at identifying Sojima and tracking him down. I guess just one little clue would suffice for them to find someone, even if they're on the opposite side of the world. Suzunari says it for a fact, not to flaunt. That sounds kind of intimidating. It is intimidating. I suggest you never make yourself their enemy. Not all of us are as sluggish as I am. I'll keep that in mind. I want to live to old age. He cringes, looking properly intimidated. You want to grow old while looking like that? How serious are you about it? For starters, maybe you should take all that metal off your body. I don't think you have the right to judge people by their looks. Suzunari gives a cynical smile in response to Maeda's most precise comeback. Haha, you said it. As for my looks, it's one of those youthful passion things. Just let it slide, would you? To Suzunari, his horribly unique fashion seems to come from his own taste and personality, regardless of how old he is or what generation he's from. But he bites that back because Maeda is right that he has no right to make mark about other people's fashion. If you show off your youth, there's no way an old guy like me can talk back. You're still in your mid-20s. I'm already in my mid-20s. It'd piss me off the 30s and 40s. Not that I don't want to age. In fact, he finds aging delightful because he believes that the older men grow, the deeper and more manly they appear. The only problem is I'm going to keep aging while Maran stays the same. Don't you agree? Rin, she ages just like you do. What a dummy. The ultimate beauty is immortal and beyond time. Well, let's just leave it at that. I'm just kidding. But she really is that stunning, Suzunari adds in his mind. I just can't tell how serious you are when you're talking about curry. Maeda wipes his mouth with the paper napkin, wearing a troubled face. His udon and salad are already gone from the bowl in his plate. I'm seriously nearly all the time. That's the problem. You really are poker-faced. I'm not sure how serious you are either. That was delicious. The big guy bows his head with his hands together. Guess I'll roll out now. Take care. Sure will. Suzunari gets up from his seat, waving his hand to the big guy. I'm really sorry for the trouble we got you in. Well, I'll stand in for you and your friends. Maeda knows full well that he means he is not going to let Tamura die. Guess we're gonna meet Asuma again? So, you guys found the doll's lair. I fill Asuma in on what Nanashi has told us at the ramen shop. Seems like neither Pops nor the police knew about it. The intelligence department has been watching the place since yesterday, but the doll hasn't shown up yet. It may be on its guard, but I don't think it has any other place to hide itself. Given the way it looks, it must be somewhere without crowds. It's probably best to wait and see, though. The doll takes people to its atelier, so if we catch it there, we should be able to avoid the worst-case scenario. You gonna fight it once you spot it? I am. There's no need to stand by anymore. Alright, I guess that means us police are about done with our role. Maybe this is gonna be the last debriefing between you and me. I hope so. Don't hope, make it happen. Asuma, I need a vacation. I knew you'd say that. Last piece of intel I brought today is regarding Tamura, not the doll. I could not ask for more. We're still having a hard time figuring out why he's gotten himself involved in this case. That's the only unclear thing now. Hopefully I can clear up all the mysteries before I have to face it all. I went through the company he used to work for and heard from people there. When did you do that? While I was on another case, I happened to be nearby. And what'd you get? This is going to be a tad long, so let me take it from the top. Slightly sit back in response to Izuma's preface. I talked to those who were in the same section as Tamura and Sojima, and they all remembered both men even after 5 years. Even those two popular there? Only Sojima. He was one of those capable, popular businessmen. Tamura, on the other hand, was pretty low-key, apparently. People called him no mask there. That's kinda how I was thinking of him. I'm really sorry for him. They told me it was about a month after Sojima vanished that Tamura quit his job. Not just right after it. That has to be the time when he tried to throw the doll away, but failed and handed it over to the next owner. That matches what Tamura himself confessed. They said he looked fairly restless at the time. So restless, he wasn't like a no-mask anymore. They were pretty worried about him. The reason was something none of them could imagine, though. It's not because a co-worker he liked was gone, but because he knew he was responsible for the disappearance. There was a man who was too worried to leave him alone. He joined the company when Sojima did. He told Tamura what Sojima said about him before going missing. What was it about? Basically nothing but compliments. Compliments? Considering all the research on him so far, that's something I've never expected to hear. According to reports and Pop's words, Sojima was supposed to be someone that would scold Tamura all the time. Say, imagine there's this awkward guy who irritates people around him and he can't tell what he could be thinking. He must have a hard time blending in with these people, right? That's a little too close for comfort. I recall my own shallow school life. Lots of my classmates must have a similar impression of me. That's the way people saw Tamura at work. They either disliked him or didn't give a damn about him. But there was only one man who saw him otherwise. And that was Sojima. That means Tamura took away the life of the only person who supported him. He always praised Tamura when he wasn't around. He considered him an earnest and trustworthy man. Trustworthy, huh? I feel like that's not a word you usually use to evaluate a younger co-worker. Apparently when Sojima was younger, he was betrayed by his girlfriend and his best friend at the same time. And he liked Tamura because he wasn't two-faced and glibbed. And what did Tamura after he heard that? He yelled. Yelled? Yeah. Can't believe someone like him did that. So loud everyone on the floor could hear it. So it seems he does possess that kind of intense emotion under his expressionless face. All the people who worked in the section back then remember. They all remember the shout made by the quiet and hard-to-understand man. I wonder what Sojima words meant to Tamura. What was it that made him unable to resist yelling? No clue, that's something he alone knows. But at least I can tell he found those words valuable. Valuable enough for him to give up everything he had to fight against the doll. So you also think he's going to face the doll? It's obvious from what he did in the park. Right. After that, I got something from Nikawa. Tamura visited his shop and tried to make him let go of the doll over and over again. There must be someone other than Minamikawa who witnessed some of the other confrontations, maybe some employees or neighbors. What you've done will eventually come to light, were his words. He even mentioned his full real name and current address. Doesn't that mean he was going to... That's right, he must have been really regretting what happened for the last month. Excuse me? Kid, you should really do something about that ringtone. Is this you? Yes. We've lost Tamura. What happened? We got attacked by the doll. At this hour of the day? Sorry about that. At this hour of the day, wasn't this doll supposed to move only during the night? 2 of my men were keeping an eye on him and they both got hurt. Anyway, I need you to get to this ramen shop. Understood. The doll hasn't been found yet, but there's something going on. Alright. I'll be off now. Kid, hold on a second. I've got a message from one of Sojima's old co-workers for Tamura. He said he forgot to tell him the most important thing back then. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay involved in this case anymore, so I want you to have it too. Let me hear it. Sure. As I arrive in the ramen shop, everyone turns to look at me. I seem to be the last one here. What's going on? Well, just relax, Junior. Wasn't the doll only supposed to move during the night? Our investigation is still fresh. A miscalculation of this sort is kind of a given. Or the doll got so angry it had to do something unexpected. Alright, Roku, fill us in. Certainly. Like I said on the phone, Tamura was attacked by the doll nearly 2 hours ago. In broad daylight, huh? Good news is that the assault took place in an unpopulated area and there were only a few witnesses. Covert Ops will cover it up. The department that deals with the aftermath of variant-related cases or negotiates with people who happen to learn about variants or disobeyers. They often conduct operations not only related to disobeyers, but also to the general public. The members of the department even hardly show themselves in front of the disobeyers except for each other, concerned about the possibility of influencing or monitoring them. 2 of my young men noticed the attack and confronted the doll. They were both injured. They were assigned there because they were good fighters, right? Yes. Had they kept to defense, they would have been fine. They both tend to get easily riled up, and apparently they wanted to do more than just protect the target. Just like yourself, Roku, he picks fights with anyone stronger than him. According to those 2, they couldn't forgive the doll. What's that supposed to mean? I'm ashamed to sound like I'm defending him, but they were working on the list until yesterday. And they met and talked to a lot of friends and relatives of the missing people. That makes sense. So they were both exposed to the survivor's sorrow. Can't forgive it, huh? They're so passionate. I'd call them green. Ha! The most noteworthy fact here is that they lost to the doll. I'm assuming that they were at least good enough to monitor and protect their Mark Tamura. It's hard to imagine that they'd assign anyone inexperienced in combat to watch him. That's correct, and I believe there's no doubt about this, but the doll has probably grown stronger since I fought it. What? The pair it defeated are very skilled. The doll I fought couldn't have hurt them to that degree. I'm presuming its bout with me may have strengthened it. Well, I think that makes sense since the doll is imitating human beings. It grows with experience, just like us. If that's the case, the engagement with those 2 made the doll even better at fighting? Probably. I'm getting pumped up. Roku, you're supposed to feel more responsible for what you've done. Couldn't agree more. But then again, we didn't know what we were facing when he fought the doll. He gave higher priority to protecting the woman than to subduing the doll, and I think that was the correct choice. So those 2 unlucky guys with a troublesome supervisor, how are they doing? One of them escaped with a minor injury while the other one was hurt badly. The doctors say it's not fatal, though. Great to hear that. Speaking of them, I have a message from them to you. What did they say? They want you to defeat it for sure. Understood. Now I have one more reason why I must take it down. What about Tamura's whereabouts? Completely unknown. Is the doll still after him? That's unknown as well. He vanished after saving the 2 men. He saved them? Yes, that's what they say. He drew the doll's attention, throwing himself into harm's way. As we expected, that's what he wants. Agreed. There's no doubt about it. Someone called an ambulance from a nearby payphone. Must have been him. How disappointing that we were saved by the one who we were supposed to save. That sure is a headache. We already sent people out to remedy this disgrace. As long as he's in town, it won't take long before we catch him. So we're gonna stand by here till then? I can't just I can't stand sitting around twiddling my thumbs in this situation. No, there's something I need you 2 to take a look at. Something we need to see? Yes, it's a letter Tamura wrote to you 2. I mean, to Suzanari. Was it delivered? No, we just found it in his apartment in Code 2 Ward. It's being brought here. Your department's short-handed, right? But let's just forget about departments and help each other out for now. I'll call the courier. Could you 2 head over to Kamasaki Station? You guys okay with that? Why not? Let's get moving, high schooler. Sure. Magical eyes, red is for Anguish. Roku, all that's left to do is catch the doll. Yeah, I know that. With the strained atmosphere gone, Kashiwaba gives himself a break, loosening his tie. Suzunari is good at bringing his mind under control, while he, based on his usual deeds and words, doesn't appear so. In fact, Kashiwaba saw through his calm act earlier. Although Yu is different, he normally seems cool and collected, but on the inside he burns with unimaginable intensity. With the final confrontation approaching, he bears a steely aura sharpened to its utmost limit. Kashiwaba can barely resist challenging him in that state. Once Yu gets that way, nothing can beat him, whether it be human or variant. Cafe Ruhi. Yu. Having received the letter, Rin and I dropped by my regular cafe near the station. We can talk freely about the case in here. Ready to check it out? Sure. To the one who's reading this letter, you might be the landlord or the police, or maybe you're one of those who want to find this letter. Whoever you are, there's one thing I'd like you to do for me. Keep this letter until the time comes. Keep this letter until you can meet someone who can understand the words I left here. Writing this, hoping that someone who believes me finds this letter. Hope Suzunari finds it. Used to be one of those who owned a particular doll, and I used to be one of those who used it the wrong way. It's a traditional Japanese doll capable of spiriting away anyone you want gone. It's capable of eventually spiriting away its owner. Believe that the doll kills them all. Out of fear for my life, I foisted the doll onto someone else. I fled from the doll knowing that it murders people. 5 years have passed since then, and I finally caught up with the doll. Cannot run from it this time. Found something to shoulder during these 5 years. Firstly, I found a man named Nikawa, the current owner of the doll. Tried to make him use the doll to kill me. Thought I'd be able to prevent further murders that way, but I failed. Nikawa runs a knick-knack shop called Zaka located in Kamamiya Ward. I believe you'll know I'm telling the truth if you investigate his personal connections. I regret that I couldn't confess everything to Suzunari back then. I feared that I would be left out of this case had I told him everything and the disobeyers started investigating. That silly obsession of mine just helped increase the number of victims. I seem to have made another irrevocable mistake. When I faced the doll... Hey, hold... Here we go. All right. I regret that I couldn't have confessed. Hello? Oh, okay. Oh, come on. This freaking system mechanic constantly breaks the freaking recording. I wish I could close it before it breaks it. There we go. Alright. Sorry about that. When I face the doll next time, I'm going to do what I must. Should I ever fail to end this, please take care of the rest for me. Deeply apologize to Suzunari and his friends for causing so much trouble for them. Every piece of this puzzle has been collected. I think I'll go through what has happened so far. Are we getting to the end of chapter freaking 1? Because this is the longest freaking chapter 1 I've ever encountered. materials. When it's Tamura's true motive to end it with his own hands, why did Tamura contact Rin, finishing up after his death? And we get an S-rank scenario out of this too. Whoa, okay. Okay. There's nothing foggy left about this case. Maybe he came to you to hedge the risk. You mean so I could take care of the case when he fails? Absolutely, he disguised himself as Sojima to draw more attention from us. I totally fell for it. He planned every move he took in order to achieve his goals. A silly obsession, huh? And we are going to end this one here. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.